Hello there. Just wanted to make a quick video on something the Lord has been encouraging me on. Maybe it would encourage you. But one of the things the Lord has been really speaking to me on is just the idea of our vision of Christ and what it means to be spiritual. You know, reading in 1 Corinthians chapter 3 where Paul talks about, I couldn't address you as spiritual people, right? You're of the flesh, he says. Infants in Christ, he ends with. And just thinking about that, I know there's a lot of things we know in 1 Corinthians that Paul is addressing, and their sinful patterns of the way they were living, and he was addressing a lot of different things, a lot of heinous sins that, kind of put you in shock. But he never refers to them as not Christians. He just says they're just infants. And he had to address them as infants. And I know for myself, having children, I address my little ones differently than I address one that is a little bit more mature in that area. So I wouldn't really talk to them the same way. And that's how it is when in Christ, there are people that are infants and there are people that are spiritual. So I want to encourage us on how do we become spiritual? How do we become people that have a vision of Christ and understand and have a knowledge of Christ, where Paul even talks about that he wants us to reach for this knowledge, right? This hidden wisdom that has been revealed, which is Christ. And how do we just continue to have like our arms just reaching, right? Our spiritual eyes enlighten our hearts, he says in Ephesians 1:18. So I really believe that it comes down to us walking in the light, surrendering those things that are ungodly or the things that distract us from seeking Jesus completely and fully with our hearts. We can get so distracted by the little things in life that we start to lose a taste and desire for heavenly things, which that being Christ. And I think the problem is that we sometimes fill our lives with too many things, and then there's other times when we're infants in Christ, right? Those people that Paul's addressing, that you just haven't given up sins, and you're continuing in this kind of revolving way of from this sin to the next sin to the next sin. And John talks about that if you make a practice of sin, you're of the devil. And I think we have really gotten away from, really transformative power in our life to let go of some of those sins that we feel that we're conquered by, that we feel that we've been defeated over and over and over again. And I believe that, the encouraging thing when Paul says, I couldn't address you as spiritual people, the encouraging thing is that there are spiritual people. And we don't need to just look at, say, well, this pastor, who's been in ministry for 35 years is the spiritual one, and I'm not spiritual because I haven't been doing that. No, it comes down to when Jesus said, he says, if you love me, you'll obey me, right? And that's really, it's all stemmed and rooted in our love for Jesus Christ. When we abide in Jesus, we will start to have a overflowing of love and just pure dedication to Jesus Christ. That everything we do, when I talk about having a vision of Christ, is that everything that we do, every move that we make in our life, it will be for a purpose, and that purpose will be to glorify Him. Whether it's family or work or relationships or decisions with our money and our finances, or decisions on where we're going to live and where we're not going to live, and but even down to dealings in the church when we're wanting Jesus more than anything, and we're wanting to give right out of what we're getting, and it's that picture you see in the Old Testament of the water in the temple, that in the temple is being filled with this water, and any place, just as when you fill a certain area, if I were to take a hose in this patio I'm sitting in, the water would be most filled where the water is sitting, and everything out from that point would just get more shallow. But this picture in the Old Testament is that the vision is that everywhere that water is going, it's getting deeper and deeper the farther it goes out. And that's really the picture of Jesus, is that he is the living water, and he is filling us, and our cup is going to overflow. But we just have to be persisting in faith and doing business with God, right? That's what you see in Revelation. He's like, buy from me gold refined, right? Refined gold. Like Christ is going to give us the best. We just have to go to him and not to everything else that feeds us. But our living, our source of life has to come from the bread of life. Give us our daily bread. I don't think that's just physical he's talking about. I think that's spiritual as well. That we're going to Christ and we're getting fed, we're eating, right? That Jesus even said that when he instituted the Lord's Supper. He says, this is my flesh. There's my little puppy in the background there. This is my flesh. I hope he just doesn't start doing his business in front of all of you. All right. But this is what Jesus was talking about, right? That we need to be going to him to get fed, to eat that spiritual food. So I just want to encourage you with these things, because we're living in a time that's just uncertain. We're living in a time where I feel that the church has just been just shaken. Many have left the faith. Many people that you thought were walking with Jesus have fell off. And I think that goes back to what Paul's saying, is like, I had to address you as infants, as you weren't even spiritual. And I would say this to encourage you, is that you'll know when you talk to spiritual people, because you'll feel the fellowship. You'll feel the fellowship in the Spirit, and you'll be fed, right? And that's the whole purpose, right? We want to feed. We want the Spirit to just overflow, so that when we're speaking and when we're encouraging or when we're building one another up, that they're receiving Christ. They're not receiving me, Kenny. They're receiving Jesus Christ, because he is pouring through me and to the person I'm speaking to, and to what ultimately build the church up, because he's going to come back for his bride, and he's coming back for a unblemished bride. It says in Ephesians that we were chosen before the foundation of the world to be what? Holy and blameless before him. Before him. And so that's the striving, that's the goal, and we gotta keep our eyes set on him, and let him be our vision, let him be our everything in anything that we do. So I hope this encourages you and puts a little bit more fuel, and gets you maybe to just start thinking about some things that you haven't laid down. Something that you just haven't given to the Lord, and it's there, and it's probably flashing before your face right now, or your mind, and you just haven't given it to him, and you haven't repented for it truly, and you just kind of been in this cycle. And I just know that when you give it all to the Lord, he's just going to abundantly provide. He's going to just abundantly provide through his Spirit, that you are just going to be so blessed from it. I know it might be hard. I know it might be difficult. I know you might not want to do it, but just know, if you want Christ, you will lay down your life. Jesus says, pick up your cross daily and follow me. Not just one time. He says daily, pick up that cross and follow me. So picking up that cross is laying down your life for his. So grace and peace. I hope that was a blessing.